Oh, hey Wizard, welcome back. And I don't think you're gonna believe this, but somebody actually gave me a gun to review. Today we'll be digging into the all-new 16-inch 5.56 IWI Carmel. And hopefully I can share my experiences better than the other 800 YouTubers that tell you that it shoots good. But let's tear into it and find out. All right, everyone, let's get started. So I really am excited to show you guys some more firearms, and I've been working with a few of the viewers off camera to go over some different categories so we can actually look at the different things that really matter to all of you. And to your advantage, I don't really know what I can and can't show, and for some reason, YouTube keeps flagging all my flashlight videos as firearms, so I don't think they really know either. So hopefully I can avoid getting in trouble, but you wanna know how legit this video is? We even have sponsors. This video is sponsored by HRT Tactical Gear. The HRT team leverages hands-on experience to design next-generational products such as the ARC belt and L-back plate carrier that provides the user unbeatable capabilities in real-world applications. And the ARC belt system is just something else. Now, in the essence of Garantham, I want to let everybody know that they're going to be doing Caramel Apple October, so anybody that orders something off the HRT website is going to get hot homemade caramel apples included with their order. Oh, what? Definitely not hot caramel apples. All right, so no hot caramel apples in your order, unfortunately, but they are definitely going to include those little candy cubes, those little delicious caramels, you know what I'm talking about? They're definitely going to include those in your order if you use discount code TLDCO during the month of October. Hopefully, they go ahead and stock some of those. But let's get back to it, and let's look over the IWI Carmel and find out what makes it so special. The IWI Carmel is a 16-inch piston-driven weapon system chambered in 5.56. Piston systems don't require the bolt to reciprocate down the buffer tube, so it allows for features such as foldable or more skeletonized stock designs. And piston systems have been around pretty much forever, but we're seeing a huge resurgence in them lately. But is this a standard, your run-of-the-mill, I want an AR-15? Well, no. It's not. And that's really the allure though. Like, it's not the same AR weapon system and has this cool little ACR looking design. And I'll be honest with you, I've kind of racked my brain about how to go over this whole thing and show it off to you without just standing in front of a target 10 feet away and being like, oh, it just shoots really flat and looks great. And I don't know about you guys, but just watching those makes me angry, and I have no idea about the firearm besides the basic stats. So here's kind of my plan to go over the whole thing. Today we'll get started with the head to toe and go over each bit from the muzzle device all the way down to the features of the stock. And then I can add kind of my little witty quips and concerns about each bit as we go through them. Then we'll start the testing and move into overall shooting feel and recoil, controls, mag drop testing, and the mag drop testing did some weird stuff that maybe you guys can help me with. Trigger function and speed, accuracy testing, overall cool factor, and comparative market. And in reality, I'd love to show you more piston weapon systems to find out if I love them or if I hate them. So we'll also set up a ranking that we'll look through at the end. We don't have any rankings yet, so it's currently blank. But please chime in the comments if there's a category that you actually want to see. I really want to answer all your questions and not just show my stupid face smiling while I'm shooting a bunch of shots. That's super obnoxious. All right, though, let's get the IWI Carmel on the bench and start looking it all over. Starting at the front, we see the included muzzle device. I like this as it's better than a basic flash hider, and it worked pretty well to keep the weapon system nice and flat. Due to the suppressed settings, I wanted to swap this out to use a dead air muzzle device, though. But one, I think I have to send this back, and two, it uses some different tools, so it's not as easy to remove as in a standard AR platform. I just figured I wouldn't try to break it before I even finished the review on it. But sound off in the comments if you know how to remove this. I'd love some tips on it. Do I just use the standard reaction rod? I don't know. Let me know and I'll get it swapped out. Anyway, moving on, we move down and see a 16-inch cold hammer forward pencil barrel. This barrel choice is likely due to wanting to shed some extra weight with the added bulk of the piston system. And I think some people are going to balk at the pencil barrel choice as it doesn't maintain its accuracy compared to a government profile barrel over long strings of fire. just me speaking here, I don't think you're going to be using this firearm in a support role, and it really seems like a Reddit basement comment, if I'm being totally honest. We'll definitely see when we do some accuracy tests, but even old M16A1s used pencil barrels. Moving back, we see the full metal M-LOK handguard. This design is a unique shape, but it allows for 2 M-LOK rows on each side, along with an M-LOK row along the bottom. And here's where we get our first real deviation from the Armalite platform. Instead of like a C-clamp grip, you kind of more have like this rectangular shape that you're holding on to. And getting a standard C-clamp grip over the rail is a bit challenging. This would cause issues when we add in additional switches, lights, and controls. And that's something I'm really curious about, like how I'm gonna set all this up for like specialized roles for like night vision and lights and such. Like for instance, how would I even put the HRT light on here so I could actually use it? Also within our handguard is our cutout for the suppressed and unsuppressed settings. You can tell which setting you're on by the position of the hole compared to the marker on the side. To change the position, you can use a tool, or I found a shell casing works great, to move the gas setting up or down to the indicated position. Now, there are only 2 positions, and when I first shot it, I definitely had it on the suppressed setting, and I can tell you right now that it totally kills all the gas. If you guys could just help me out and let IWI know that we need to tear into this thing so we can test out all those suppressor settings. Oh, one last bit on the handguard. Included with the Carmel is actually 2 QDs and one of the little M-LOK QD attachment points. And while it wasn't a perfect solution, I did use the sling QDs as leverage in the absence of a foregrip during our initial shooting. In the end, I added in the Emissary Development foregrip and the Beast Combat System sling though. It's much, much better now. Back on the Carmel, we see the claim to fame on this platform with the Ambi side charging handle. This allows the user to charge the system and also swap it to the other side by using the open slot near the rear of the channel. And being able to swap it is sweet, but like on the BRN 180, I only had it on the right side and I didn't really have any issue with it, so I don't really mind that it's just on the right side and just always set up there. I will say that the spring system seems incredibly tough compared to the force required on other piston systems. I can charge the BRN 180 with just my thumb, and there's no way in hell that's happening with the Carmel. And maybe my BRN is just super broken in for using it for like the past year or so for a bunch of testing, but the force required here is significant compared to other piston systems. Continuing rearward, we have our ejection port. This is non-standard again, and the ejection port is not removable or customizable. The ejection port also has a brass deflector built in on the rear that worked great to keep brass out of my face when I was firing in the prone. Now, I think the allure of the AR platform is it's so customizable, so it's kind of a bummer that I can't have some dust cover here with some annoying saying that shows up when it flips down. No, I'm just kidding. Those are super duper obnoxious. Moving to the bolt catch, mag release, and safety, we see all these controls are fully ambidextrous, allowing you to easily manipulate the weapon system to clear malfunctions quickly. And what I found interesting is that the Carmel Ambi controls almost exactly mimic the Ambi setup I put on all my AR setups. I would like to know if I can switch around the little shorty safety nub over to the other side though. I did see some other reviewers note that their safety was loose. Mine also had some play in it, but it was really a non-issue as the actual safety switch engagement is incredibly crisp and deliberate. But if you like to complain about small and insignificant things, well, there's one for you. And we'll dig into the controls more as we do some testing, but they are super, super nice. I should also note that the Carmel uses a full polymer lower. The magwell includes a nice flare to make reinsertion of magazines easier and keep everything from binding up. Now, I will say it was a bit of a learning curve, as it's some completely different muscle memory in actually reloading this compared to like a standard AR platform. And I'm also on the fence about the polymer lower, but IWI has had success with these type of lowers in the past. You'll see what I'm talking about on the actual mag release test, and I don't know, maybe you can actually help me understand what the heck's going on. Moving down, we see the included B5 systems grip. I don't mind these, but the grip can be easily swapped out if the user wanted something more specific. Moving to the trigger, we see the included proprietary 2-stage trigger. Yeah, that means you can't change it out, And with so many of us loving customization, and me being a bit of a trigger snob, this is one part of this setup that I don't particularly love. Being two-stage means the trigger has a very light pull weight into the wall, where it then breaks with about 3 to 3¼ pounds of pressure. After breaking, the trigger then has a full reset travel back to the first stage, resulting in a fairly long travel from pull to reset. And we'll test it to see if it matters, like we'll actually see the speed with this actual trigger. But two-stage triggers are usually reserved for like more distance platforms, so I don't know, maybe it'll play into the accuracy of this whole setup. Oh, I may have missed this because it's obvious, but along the top of the Carmel is also a full Picatinny rail for mounting all your optics and accessories. Again though, you'll need to play the ergonomics game on how you may need to set up switches and such to access those items. Finally though, we get to the stock. This is pretty awesome as it uses a latch on the left side to hinge open. Now, I also saw some reviewers comment on how you have to like absolutely slam this thing home or it just won't stay locked. And I don't know, I just want to note that I absolutely didn't have that problem like at all. I can just get it close and it snaps right into place. So I don't know. I don't get it. It's a non-issue. Above the hinge are also QD connection points on the left and right hand side to allow you to connect in your favorite sling system. This is the B's heavy-duty sling, and it does a great job of giving comfort with this system. Back to the stock though, we first see our cheek riser. This is unlocked by pinching both sides and sliding it up and down, moving from low profile to even higher than like 2.5-inch setups. And in the goobers world we live in, this is nice to see. And it's pretty nice to have a riser when you have like a 1.93 setup, as it does make the whole system overall easier to use. But I will note that the riser itself feels a bit cheap and flimsy. In the low and stowed position it does great, but as you lift it upward, the riser itself begins to rock back and forth and just makes a lot of racket when it's in this position. And I'm honestly halfway on it because I don't love it, but I'm also super glad that they included it. Most other cheek risers on the market are bolted on and just kind of work so-so anyway. Not you, LaRue. You are amazing. At the rear of the stock, we see the extension and retraction controls. Here you can pull the switch back and you can adjust the length of the rear stock. There are also numbered markers to easily adjust to different shooting positions. Okay, so wow, that was the whole head to tail with some of my thoughts kind of mixed in. But let's get into actually testing it and give you some more tangible information than the things you can just Google on your own and look on a spec sheet. So for this, we're going to be starting with overall shooting feel and recoil. Totally easy to explain with words. The added weight and balance of the Carmel made for an incredibly low recoiling system. The barrel seemed to stay flat and controlled, allowing for fast and easy transitions. The piston system also didn't have that short, snappy bite of the BRN 180 when you were firing, making for a smooth and super easy to shoot system. Like if you would have told me this is just a standard AR, I would have believed you. It shoots like one and it feels like one. Next though, this is exciting. Let's go test the controls. Here is a super shining spot for the Carmel. From the bolt to the mag release, all these controls have been enlarged and extended for faster and easier function, allowing the user to easily and quickly manipulate the entire system with either hand. And I usually have to pay a good bit to add the same functionality to like a standard AR system, and you get all this without having to pay for some stupid $600 Ambi lower. As a lefty, I'm not even buying Ambi lower, so I don't get what you right-handers are doing. Anyway, control, super good. Next, let's do the mag drop test. Now, here is where I need some help. During this recording, all mags dropped free. PMag Gen 2s, the included PMag Gen 3, and my Lancer mags, no issues whatsoever. But that wasn't the case at the range. Once the Carmel got all warmed up and I was doing drills, all the mags seemed like they wanted to stick to the mag well. Suddenly my Lancers didn't want to drop and the PMags had to be yanked out instead of dropping free. See, I don't know, sound off on what could be causing that. Maybe I just like wore it enough and just broke it free. I should go warm this thing up again and see what happens when I try to drop mags from it though. But we'll keep moving to the next test. I want to test out this trigger and see what I can do with it. Well, I gotta eat some crow here as all my whining and complaining over the trigger was for nothing. I was able to shoot this trigger extremely fast and easy. There were no issues with getting caught up or hiccups at all. And I think it shows there's a lot more to training to shoot your trigger fast than actually like what your trigger actually is. All right, so what's next? Oh, accuracy testing. I have to say the Carmel's piston system and 16-inch barrel did superbly here. I took the Carmel out to the 600-yard range and loaded up with some 77 grain AAC ammo. I had no issues with ringing the 400 gong repeatedly. Even reaching out to 600, I was surprised by the accuracy as I was able to hit it just over and over. And it should be noted that most piston systems aren't like known for their accuracy. A lot of them boast like a 2 MOA accuracy, usually at best. So I was more than a little bit surprised to see this level of accuracy and consistency out of the Carmel's piston system. All right, let's do the next category, and this is kind of a fun one. Cool factor. Probably my favorite bit about the Carmel is just the look and the feel to it. It gives an ACR aesthetic that just makes people ask, what is that? And that collapsible stock is just like dying for a slow-mo with like my hair blowing in the wind.
Hey, that's my sandwich.
And big thanks to my wife for the absolutely awesome hairdryer effect that she threw in there. But I just think the Carmel just absolutely screams cool. All right, though, let's move into our last category, and this is going to be the comparative market. With the full Ambi controls, side charging, articulating, and folding stock, the only system that even comes close to the Carmel in terms of price is the BRN 180. With other competitors like the SIG MCX being like a third more cost. Oh, you jerks are gonna make me buy a SIG Spear, aren't you? I don't know, we'll see about that one. But now that we've looked over the entire IWI Carmel and done a bunch of tests on it, let's go into my final thoughts and rankings. I found the IWI Carmel to be an amazing looking piston system that just shot incredibly great in both short and long range application, giving me the ability to fire quickly and transition targets while easily ringing steel consistently out past 600. And while it's our only piston ranking currently, the price point and features far outweigh the small quirks and issues I ran into, and I feel the Carmel can hold its top slot as we move through some other piston systems. But just how accurate is it? That's something I definitely want to test before we have to send this whole thing back, so stay tuned for that one next. But I hope this review of the IWI Carmel was useful in your purchasing decisions. I want to say thanks to all of our Patreon supporters and our YouTube members. You make it possible that we get to see all these cool weapon systems and we get to show them off to all of you. And I want to say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below what you think about the IWI Carmel and what your favorite piston system is. I want to hear about it. All right, everyone, ball shout. How would I know how you'd ship hot caramel apples? Just throw them in the box with everything else. It'll just mill around. It'll be fine. A little caramel won't hurt anything. Betcha people probably love it. Caramel plate carriers. It sounds cool, actually. Yeah, but seriously though, you're gonna need to order like a ton of those little caramel cubes. Oh, way more than that.